Thomas Tuchel has a World Cup to win this summer, and with the squad that England has, he has absolutely no excuse. We're talking about Kane scoring over 50 goals this season yet again, Anthony Gordon scoring 10 Champions League goals, Nico O'Reilly being a Player of the Year contender in the Premier League this season, Morgan Rogers being named as one of the best number 10s in the world. He has decisions to make, but today in this video we're going to do something special. We're going to decide who makes the plane and who stays at home. So stay with me in this video. We're gonna rank every member of the England squad and pick our 26-man squad. So guys, let's get straight into it with Ramsdale, because Ramsdale has been solid as a goalkeeper this season. Honestly, I think Tuchel will go with 4 goalkeepers. He has always called up 4 goalkeepers with England at the national camp. So I have 5 options and only one has to leave. And obviously, I think the obvious name is Jason Steele. I think Ramsdale goes as the 3rd goalkeeper. I think James Trafford has to go also. He will be a future number 1 for England next season. Maybe not next season, but in the future seasons. He has shown great potential at Burnley. I can't forget the clean sheet record with Burnley. This was the goalkeeper that was supposed to be the England number 1. I think James Trafford moves in the summer to a club where he will be a number 1 potentially at Aston Villa, who are heavily interested, potentially even at Newcastle, who might look to replace Nick Pope or even go in competition with Trafford. So with Ramsdale. So I think you have to go with James Trafford also to give him that sort of experience. I think it's important for him to go at the World Cup, and of course I think Jason Steele will stay. He hasn't played a lot this season with Brighton, so what's the point of going with him? So I think Jason Steele will stay at home, but of course Jordan Pickford will go. Of course, he'll be England's number 1. 11 clean sheets this season so far in the Premier League. Has been solid with Everton, pushing for maybe a Champions League spot or even a Europa League spot with that Everton team. I think you have to bring him at the World Cup. He'll be number 1. Has constantly proved that he is the best English goalkeeper around. Incredible shot stopper. One of the best ratios of save percentage this season in the Premier League. So you have to take him. And for me, Dean Anderson has to be his number 2. Dean Anderson again has shown how great he is in the Premier League this season. Again, it's the same thing. 11 clean sheets in the Premier League this season. One of the best goalkeepers in the league. A Community Shield winner this season. A Carabao Cup winner last season. You have simply to take Dean Anderson into the squad. So let's pass to the right back row, where it's gonna be tricky because the first name I have is Tino Livramento. Guys, what do you think about Tino Livramento? Tino Livramento is a player that I really like. Honestly, I like Tino Livramento, but can we take him to the World Cup? Let's go with the starters first. Who is gonna start at right back this season for England at the World Cup? I really think Rhys James is the best English right back at this moment. Has been, I think, one of the realest great players of Chelsea this season, constantly again showing his quality on the ball. Has played even in midfield. This is a player honestly that you have to bring at the World Cup, especially that he can even play in that midfield if needed. When Rhys James is fit, I think he's easily the best English right back. So can we take Tino Livramento to play as my other option as right back? The problem I have with Tino Livramento is that he hasn't played a lot this season. We're talking about a player that hasn't played at least 1,000 minutes of football in the Premier League. So is he a good option enough to cover Rhys James? I don't think so. For me, I think Tino Livramento, it's short, but I won't take him. The same thing for Trent Alexander-Arnold. I don't think it's a reliable option. Thomas Tuchel clearly doesn't favor him, so what's the option? What's the point to taking him if he's not even gonna play him? This is a player that on the ball is probably one of the best English players around. Let's say the truth. But I don't think Thomas Tuchel wants that from a right back. I think he wants a right back who he can rely on defensively. And again, Trent this season, he has been the same regular trend, showing a lot of weakness defensively. So I think he'll go for a better right back defensively, and that's why I'm gonna take, for me, Jed Spence. I think Jed Spence this season again has put up a lot of minutes with Tottenham, can play as a right back, can play as a left back. He is one of the best defensive fullback. Honestly, has got very, very better with that Spurs team. I think you have to take Rhys James and Jed Spence as your right back options. What about the left back? I think there is clearly no debate. You take Nico O'Reilly as your left back. and you take Lewis Hall as your other. What a competition these two are going to have. What a team you are going to have. Again, Nico O'Reilly. For me, I said it. I made a video about it. One of the best players in the Premier League this season. Probably a player of the year contender. Honestly, if City wins it, I think he should be the player of the year. 6 goals, 4 assists in the league. Playing as a left back, can play even her on the pitch, can score important goals. We're talking about a guy that scored in the Carabao Cup final, 2 goals scored against Newcastle, delivered an assist against Liverpool. This is a guy that's always present in the important games. And on the other side, Lewis Hall, I don't forget the first leg against Barcelona. Defensively against Lamine Yamal, he was really rock solid going forward. Excellent, one of the rarest, again, bright spark of Newcastle. So for me, I think these two have locked down that left back position easily. What about the centre backs now? Of course, we're gonna go with the ones that's gonna start. Marc Guéhi, easily English best centre back. I know there is the mistake against Everton, but Marc Guéhi rarely makes mistakes. I can't recall his last mistake before the Everton one. This is your most reliable centre back, a leader, has been captain at Crystal Palace. He's playing in a better team in Manchester City, being coached by Guardiola. This is a player that you have to take. There is no debate around Marc Guéhi, and he starts as your centre back. I think the one that should also start alongside Marc Guéhi is Ezri Konsa, putting in a top season with Aston Villa again this season. Solid, athletically, one of the best centre backs in the league. Again, consistent. You have to take Ezri Konsa, and I think I'd agree that he would start alongside Marc Guéhi. A player that will be in competition with him is Maguire. I think you take him, a leader in the dressing room, has consistently shown that he is present in the biggest moments for England, scoring important goals. This is a player that is dangerous in both boxes, really good defensively, but also a player that you can use in set pieces option, so you have to take him. What about Fikayo Tomori? I think Fikayo Tomori, honestly, don't think that Fikayo Tomori will be going at the World Cup, if we're being honest. What about Ben White? You know what? Honestly, Ben White has shown me great things, and the recent performances he's putting up with Arsenal are really great, and I don't forget what he has done with Arsenal. This is a player that can also play as a right back. Let's not forget that Reece James is kind of injury prone also. You might lose him during the tournament, and you will only have Jet Spence as option, especially that I want to take an extra defender that can also play as a centre back, can also play as a right back. I think I'm taking Ben White. Let's first choose the other 4th option as a centre back. I think I'm taking Dunbar. This is a player that we will need. He's also leadership. This is a nice guy also that is really liked in the dressing room. I've heard great things about Dunbar. At Newcastle, you have to take him, especially that he's really been also great this season. So you have to take Dunbar, honestly, as your 4th option, as your left centre back. Also, who can also play as a left back. So this is a guy that has won everything. Yes, when fit, he's probably the best, alongside Marc Guéhi, the best English centre back. But can we really rely on the fitness of John Stones? I don't think so. So for me, John Stones stays, and honestly, Ben White completes my defenders. I think Ben White goes and covers Reece James and Jet Spence as my other right back, can also play as a centre back if needed. You simply have to go with a profile like Ben White. I prefer a profile like Ben White than Trent Alexander-Arnold, honestly. Now the midfield, oh my god, I think England are really blessed in midfield. They're gonna have incredible midfielders this summer. For me, the one that start are Declan Rice. Do I have to explain why I take Declan Rice? Honestly, one of the best players in the world currently, incredible player. To take Declan Rice, of course. For me, I start him alongside Elliot Anderson. Again, Elliot Anderson this season is one of the best players in the Premier League in midfield. He ranks 9th in expected threat from midfield. That's how highly rated he is. And let's not forget that he's playing for a struggling Nottingham Forest that has had 4 coaches, and still the numbers. Go look at the numbers of Elliot Anderson. When I say that Elliot Anderson is going to leave Nottingham Forest this summer for maybe a British record transfer, I'm not exaggerating. This is a player that, honestly, for me, Real Madrid, teams like want a midfielder, Manchester City, all these teams have to absolutely go on him. Elliot Anderson is the right deal. Honestly, he is even responsible for 30.6% of Forest's completed line-breaking passes. This is an excellent passer also, and he is that player that will harass in the midfield, that will press high. You need this kind of energy in midfield, honestly. What are my other options? Of course, I think we need that different profile to Declan Rice, to Elliot Anderson, more of a passer on the ball, someone who will control the tempo. And that player is, of course, Adam Walton. You have to take Adam Walton to the World Cup. This is a player that will leave Crystal Palace for a big fee in the summer. Apparently, he has a gentleman agreement to leave for certain clubs for around 60 million. If that's true, that's a bargain for many teams. A team like Liverpool should jump on the occasion, because you need this guy's creativity. Someone who will come in, break those lines, get that risky passing. That's the type of player that England have to take in midfield. And I have 2 remaining names, because now I have 3 options. I think I'll take 5 options for 2 positions. Honestly, I think will be good. And of course, I'll take James Garner. This season has been huge with Everton. If you have seen Everton season, if you have watched consistently Everton, you know that James Garner is one of their best players in the Premier League. Have some numbers: 146 tackles, 80 interceptions, 315 recoveries. We're talking about a ninja in midfield. You have to take James Garner at the World Cup. Honestly, one of the easily best number 8s in England right now. And what I like about James Garner is that he can play as a 6, can equally play also as an 8, can even play as left back. He has done it for David Moyes at Everton this season. So for me, you have to take James Garner, which leaves us with a complicated decision, because I honestly want to take Kobbie Mainoo because of his recent performances. I'm not Ruben Amorim. I see the quality of Kobbie Mainoo. He has been huge since, honestly, the appointment of Michael Carrick, since the good run of Manchester United has had. This is a guy that has also scored against, for example, Liverpool. Again, this is a guy that's present in big moments. But I also want to take Jordan Anderson. You need that leadership. You need someone who has won it all. You need his leadership qualities in the dressing room. And honestly, I have 4 midfielders, so the 5th one isn't really gonna play much. So do you want to bring Kobbie Mainoo and waste him on the bench? Or bring in more like a Jordan Anderson who will be a leader in the dressing room? It's a tough one. I want to hear your thoughts in the comments. Honestly, I think I'll go with Jordan Anderson. Not that I don't like Kobbie Mainoo, not that I'm Ruben Amorim, but you can't leave a player like Jordan Anderson at home, you know. I think Kobbie Mainoo, if he had been better than, for example, a player like Adam Wharton, a player like James Garner, I would have said, okay, no, why not? But he hasn't been better than them. Let's be honest. These are also players that have played much more games than him. These are players that currently have 6 Premier League assists. I don't think Kobbie Mainoo has been better than both of these players. So honestly, I'll go for the leadership. I'll go for the experience in the dressing room. I'll take Jordan Anderson. And in my number 10 role, of course, I call Jude Bellingham. I don't forget the player he's been for England. I don't forget the quality he is. Yes, this season has been complicated, but let's not forget that this is a player that also has had a shoulder surgery, has missed a lot of matches this season. So, you know, I can't blame him this season, especially that at Madrid, nothing is really going for them. Let's not forget that this is a guy that in his first 50 appearance for Madrid has scored 15 goals, delivered 15 assists. This is a guy that is the player that will bring the X factor up front. This is a guy that is also willing work hard off the ball. You need a player like Jude Bellingham, honestly. But for me, I think I don't start him. I really think, maybe I'm going crazy, let me know in the comments, but for me, I obviously start Morgan Rogers in the midfield. I start Morgan Rogers in that number 10 role for me this season. Again, Aston Villa's probably best player, 19 goal involvement again in the league. Probably the young player of the year contender again, who can maybe go back to back for that award, but is equally also the player of the year contender in the Premier League. Honestly, there is a world in which Aston Villa wins the Europa League, and honestly, he will be one of the best players of the season. You have to start Morgan Rogers. Honestly, sorry Bellingham, but Morgan Rogers has showed me much more this season. What about Cole Palmer? For me, Cole Palmer will stay at home this season. I don't think I'm doing too much saying that Cole Palmer will stay. He is no better than Jude Bellingham. I don't think he's equally better than Morgan Rogers. This is a player that has scored how many goals from open play? 4 since last season. Yes, Cole Palmer can bring you the X factor, but there is honestly a lot like injuries. Like there's a lot of injuries. There's a lot of inconsistency. For me, I think that Morgan Rogers honestly is the better player right now. Maybe in terms of talent wise, yes, Cole Palmer is one of the best English players every day, but honestly, I don't take him over Morgan Rogers, and I don't take him over Jude Bellingham. And honestly, yes, he can play as a right wing, but is he better than Bukayo Saka? Is he better than a player like Jarrod Bowen that we'll talk about in a minute? I don't think so, honestly. And Anthony Gordon on the left wing starts for me the best left winger of England right now. 10 Champions League goals. He is the top scorer of Newcastle this season. I really like everything about Anthony Gordon. Either his work ethic, how he presses off the ball, he's hard working off the ball. I really love it, but equally how he's really becoming that lethal player in front of the goal. Really great in front of the goal. Yes, most of his goals have been penalties, but you have to score those penalties. And honestly, I don't see a better option at left wing. There is Harvey Barnes. Are we taking Harvey Barnes at the World Cup? This is a player that can also, coming off the bench, can show great things. Again, great with Newcastle, but I think honestly I'll go with Marcus Rashford. 22 goal involvement this season with Barcelona. Again, this is a player that can also play as a striker. I think Marcus Rashford still has a bit of X factor in him also. This is a player that is also used to big moments, big pressure moments. I think Marcus Rashford in competition with Anthony Gordon, I think that's a great, honestly, left wing pairing. And of course, which means that Harvey Barnes stays at home. It means that Ebere Eze, I really like Ebere Eze. I really like him on the ball, but honestly, he is not gonna start in that tenor. He's not gonna start on the wing. I think Anthony Gordon has been better. I think players like Marcus Rashford are much better profiles. So honestly, Ebere Eze, Arsenal fan, don't keep me in the comments, but I think he stays at home. But the other Arsenal player that will start at the right wing, the star boy, Bukayo Saka, starts at that right wing. Yes, Bukayo Saka has had a mixed season. Yes, I'm not a fan of the season he's had this season, but honestly, let's not forget that Bukayo Saka is still a quality player. Let's not forget that Bukayo Saka is one of the players that delivers in big moments. Also, 10 assists in the league this season. Yes, has only scored 7 Premier League goals, but still 17 Premier League goal involvement in a season where he is not at his best. It's not bad. This is a player that will be playing a Champions League final. This is honestly your starting option. Yes, he'll be in competition with Jarrod Bowen. For me, Jarrod Bowen goes the experience. Honestly, West Ham's best player. The season he's put on, again, playing at West Ham is, for me, ridiculous. I think, honestly, I really hope a top club comes in for him. I hope it's not too late for a player like Jarrod Bowen, because this season, again, 10 Premier League assists. He is the winger with the most assists in the league with Bukayo Saka. Again, you have to take Jarrod Bowen. This season he's had, you know, the leadership he has, everything. I like everything about Jarrod Bowen. You have to take him, which means that Noni Madueke stays at home. What about Phil Foden, guys? I want to hear your thoughts about Phil Foden, because honestly, for me, this is one of the players that is even not close to an England call up. I would prefer calling up Cole Palmer, Ebere Eze, even Noni Madueke over Phil Foden, honestly. Yes, Phil Foden is still talented, one of the best talents of English football has produced in the last few years, but honestly, has he lived up to the expectation? This season, he's just a squad player at Manchester City. Ryan Cherki in his first season has just came and grabbed that number 10 role. I don't think Phil Foden is a better player than Jude Bellingham. I don't think he's a better player than Morgan Rogers. I think, honestly, there is no debate. I want to hear your thoughts in the comments, honestly. What about Harry Kane? Of course, your captain starts as your number 9. Again, 50 goals, over 50 goals this season. Potentially a Ballon d'Or candidate. Honestly, Harry Kane, he goes to the World Cup. Incredible player. Have to bring Harry Kane, which leaves us one spot for 3 options here. We have Dom Solanke that I'll put already in state because he's always injured. I think he's even picked up an injury that will end his season. I don't think he'll be fit enough for the World Cup, so there is no point getting them Solanke. Yes, I know that he is a good striker on the ball. He is maybe better than Ivan Toney and Dominic Solanke has. I think he's more complete than Calvert-Lewin and Toney, but I think his injuries, you need someone that you can count on if ever Kane gets injured, and a player that has consistently delivered for England. I remember his Euro, I remember him even at the World Cup, the last World Cup, has constantly delivered when Kane is injured or in the extra time. Someone who is used to also pressured moments, someone who takes well penalties, someone who is honestly a great striker. I think again this season has scored 27 goals in Saudi League in 27 games. This is a guy that's scored over 30 games. Yes, you'll tell me it's Saudi League. Yes, it means nothing. But again, someone who scores that much goals. He has showed it also in the Premier League in his years at Brentford. I think you bring Ivan Toney. Honestly, I love Ivan Toney, and I think you have to take him in, especially in a big moment like this in a World Cup, which means that Dominic Calvert-Lewin stays at home. I really like Dominic Calvert-Lewin. The season he's putting up, I think he would have deserved it, but Ivan Toney, for me, he is much better for me. So guys, that's my final England squad for this World Cup in America. I want to know your thoughts in the comments, and if you enjoyed this video, make me know it by liking and subscribe for more football content, and I'll see you in the next one. Ciao!